Now I will discuss about the seeder. A seeder is a class in Laravel that allows you to populate your database with dummy data or test data. It is actually useful when you are developing an application and needs some sample information or sample data to work with. Seeders are used to insert data into the database table and can be executed using the artisan command line tool. Now I am going to show you how to create seeder and how to use that. This is a fresh Laravel installation, and you will see that in the left side there is a database and there is a seeders. There is already a database seeder.php file that is the default seeder here. You see that already it is given here. Now what I will do, I am now going to create table and to create migration and model. So let's check it. I am going to create a normal migration file first, php artisan make migration, and then create, for example, customer. So customers table. You will see that into the database migrations folder this file is created. Now I am going to add some data here. For example, table string. Here I am going to give the customer name, then I am going to give the email address, then I am going to give the phone, then I am going to give the, for example, city, then customer address, first address here, address, then city, and then I am going to give a state, then going to give country, okay, like this, and then I can give here date of birth DOB, so something like this. So name is mandatory and all are not mandatory. You can also give here nullable. If you give here nullable, that means this email field, this field will be nullable field. So in this way you can give here all the information if you want. So actually it depends on you how you will do that. I just make a layout. Now I am just going to call php artisan migrate. Now before going to do that, I am going to that .env file, and here I am going to use the root. So password is root, this is okay. Now database name I give the default name is Laravel, that is okay. I am going to my database. Here is phpMyAdmin. There is no database by this name, so I am just going to run php artisan migrate. It is asking me to create database. Yes. Now if I go here in and refresh phpMyAdmin, you will see that Laravel comes and the customers table already created into my database. You see that name is not nullable, but all other fields are showing the null is yes. Okay, fine. Now I am going to make a seeder here, but before going to make seeder, I am going to do another thing, that is I am going to create a model. Okay, so php artisan make model, and what will be the model? The model name will be the customer, as my table name is customer, so I give the model name customer. So model is created. If I want to check it, app models, this is the customer model. Okay, now I am going to create a controller, php artisan make controller, and for example home controller. So a controller should be created now into the http, and here controllers, this is the home controller. Okay, so in the home controller I am going to create public function index this function, and I am going to open my web route. So in the routes, this is web.php. Here I am going to remove it. I am going to call the home controller, then class, and index is the method name. In the top I am going to add it, use app http controllers, then home controller, call it. I am going to close this one. Database seeder is this is okay. So in this function, in this method, what I will do, I can return a view, or here I can do this is okay, index is okay, no problem. Here just leave it. So as I have created my model, if controller needs I will use it, but for now let's focus on the seeder. In the database, the default seeder you see, this is database seeder. Now here I am going to create my own seeder. So PHP artisan make seeder. I will create a custom seeder file and I will give here the name customer seeder. You see that a new customer seeder.php file creates, and this is the boilerplate codes. Okay, so here I will write my code. I created a model that is if you go here, customer model. So in the top of the seeder I am going to call app models, then customer. I add it because I will use to save my data. So here I call here object equal to new customer. That means customer model class I call here. And now I will set the data. So customer name I will set here, for example, Murshedul Arifin. You know that in this table I added some items, email, phone, address, like this. So object email I will use here, email equal to hot, then there will be phone address like this, phone address, then I will create here, for example, city, and there was a state here, city, state, there was a country, so here I write the country, and after that what was here, country, and then DOB. So here I will use the object and DOB equal to this. Now I am going to create a seeder. That means this seeder I will run to create a data because my database table, this customer table actually has no data. So what I am going to do, that is I am going to create a sample data here. So here I can give here my email address, phone 012, address is for example like this, city I give here anything, state, my state, that is my country, date of birth, for example something I give here like this. So after giving all the information, what I can do, object save, right? So I call this, but I am going to do another thing. This is database seeder. I will have to go here. You see that this is the run method. I also write code in this run method into my customer seeder here. So this run method I will have to call using the database seeder. I will just call the class, that is customer seeder class. If I call this one, this run method will automatically be executed. So I will call that from the database seeder. Okay, so here I will write this call. This call I give here, and this is an array type format, and here I will use customer seeder class, just like this. So sorry, customer seeded, not seeded, seeder class. Okay, now I am going to terminal and I will just run php artisan db seed. Okay, just run this php artisan db seed and enter. You see that seeding database. Now I am going to database, refresh. You see that the data I gave there, it is inserted here. That means a sample data just come here. If you want that you want to add another sample data, just modify this one, for example like this, and here I am going to modify it like this, like this, something like this as sample, like this, okay, something like this. Then I will again come here and again run PHP addition dbseed. Now if I go here, refresh, you see that another data that I give here is inserted here. So in this way you can just use the seeder in Laravel.